This is J.G. Hertzner. You're listening to NX 7062 Podcast.
Yes, you are listening to the 7062 Podcast. Hi, I'm your host, Stephanie K. Thank you so much for joining me on First Contact Day. I'm so excited. This is my first podcast on First Contact Day. And as you can see behind me, it's a little fuzzy, but I couldn't help it. StarTrek.com actually had these really great Visit Bozeman, Montana posters that you could download for free. So I grabbed a couple today. One of them is up on the podcast social pages, and the other one's behind me. It's the statue of Zefram Cochrane with his hand pointing towards the future. His statue, as we all know, that will be erected in Bozeman, Montana after his warp flight journey. I am so glad that you are joining me again. Happy First Contact Day. We are 127 days away from the convention formerly known as STLV. But as of today, in case I don't know how many of you were enjoying the festivities on StarTrek.com, but as of today, they are not the only Star Trek, I have to put that in quotes because they lost the license, convention in town anymore. Hello, Robert. Thank you for joining us. Magic Lasso, I am so glad you're here because we are about to talk about Mission Chicago. There were a couple of major announcements today during the First Contact events. There were a bunch of panels today. There was some free streaming of some episodes, but to me, and they closed out First Contact Day on StarTrek.com with this announcement. It's the one we have all been waiting for. Who got the licensing to do a Star Trek convention? It's ReedPop. There's already a website up for Mission Chicago, which is happening April 8th through the 11th in Chicago at this amazing convention center. And if anybody's got questions about the convention center in Chicago where they will be holding Mission Chicago, ask Magic Lasso, because that is his stomping ground, the Chicago. He goes to C2E2 and some other ReedPop events that happen up there. So one of the things I'm excited about, besides an official Star Trek convention, again, is that it's going to be in Chicago. Hey, domestic, happy First Contact Day. That it's going to be in Chicago, where I have never been, more than a layover on my way to STLV back in 2017. So I'm really excited that I'm going to finally get a chance and have an excuse to go to Chicago, have an excuse to hopefully see Magic Lasso. As he said earlier to me, it is a year out. It's hard to plan for things. Can't even book a flight. I already looked. I have flight credits with American, so I'm already looking to book. Does this mean the end of the Vegas convention? Maybe, maybe not. But again, ReedPop has the license, so they get to do the official stuff now. And they've already said they're going to move it from city to city every year, which is great for Star Trek fans that maybe never had the money to head all the way out to Vegas because they are like me, they live on the East Coast. Or they just don't like Vegas, which is a totally valid reason not to spend your money to go there. Mission, it's the missions. Just like Mission New York, which I believe was a ReedPop event back in 2016 at the Javits Center. So, really, 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 really looking forward to seeing what ReedPop does with their licenses. They already have one guest. Will Wheaton's already signed on, which is really exciting because he hasn't done a convention. So, very excited. That we finally got, and it's just like I had figured this all along, that ReedPop was not going to have a convention until, or whoever had it, obviously ReedPop, they were smart, and they don't want to do anything for their inaugural event until 2022, and hopefully everything is settled. The pandemic has been, in our rearview mirror. So that being said, I'm excited. Chicago, maybe Magic Lasso and I'll get to see each other. Haven't seen him in a few years, at least not face to face. And it will be our first time hanging out at a convention together. That's assuming I can get him to go through the doors of a Star Trek convention. I might be able to convince him to go for at least a day. for the convention and just kind of check things out. But we'll see. So don't think that I won't be pestering you for the next year, Lasso, about hanging out with me in Chicago for the con. Besides the fact I would love to introduce you to all of my Star Trek friends. The other big announcement that came out for First Contact Day was Picard Season 2 is underway. They are filming. And if you watched the trailer, you saw it. If you watched the panel, it's the only panel today that I watched. Q is returning to torment Picard because, as he is said, he is probably, Jean-Luc is probably Q's only friend. So he's back to torment Picard, and I couldn't be happier. John Delancey and Q, some of my favorite people. And in case I haven't mentioned this or you missed it the last time I mentioned this, he and Wesley, you have something in common. John Delancey was also on Days of Our Lives for a while, played a really great character that I absolutely loved. He never came back. He's left. They've mentioned him once or twice in passing, but he's never come back. But yeah, he played Eugene Bradford on Days of Our Lives for many, 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 many years. So I love that about John Delancey. And I actually, in 2016, had a quick chance to tell him that, I loved Q, but I loved him on Days as well. So that's it for all the big announcements. So excited for Chicago. I can't wait. I'm really excited for Vegas, of course, too. So, the more Star Trek conventions, the better. Even though Creation isn't licensed anymore. The one thing that I was thinking about, and I mentioned to my buddies over in the Lambda Quadrant earlier, because we were all excited and talking about this. Creation could still conceivably hold their sci-fi summits and just invite Star Trek people and still have a Vegas convention. And I think we'll get the answer to that question at the end of the 55-year mission this summer, because all you got to do is stick around and find out if they're pre-selling gold tickets for next year, because this is what they do. They pre-sell the following year's Vegas convention to their gold, because gold ticketed people usually want to keep their same seat. There are some people that have had that seat for years and years and years and years. And the best way to ensure that you get to keep your seat is to actually buy it again at the close of the current convention. So if they start pre-selling, then we'll all know the answer to the question whether they're going to continue with Vegas. April to August is a big enough gap. I think it may change up. They may actually do what they're doing with the other conventions. They canceled, as I mentioned last week, they canceled Vancouver because of COVID, but they've still got the Jacksonville and the Edison, New Jersey sci-fi summits, and they have other people from other franchises. So it is a sci-fi summit. Its focus is on Star Trek, but there are people from other shows that are going to be there. So maybe Vegas might change up a little bit next year, and maybe they'll have people from other shows joining them. So what else do we have? Well, as I mentioned, what else we're going to be talking about? But First Contact Day. Today is April 5th, and today in the year 2063, the Vulcans will be landing here on Earth in Bozeman, Montana, which, as I've mentioned before, I will be stopping in on my road trip. Don't know what time I'm going to be in Bozeman. I'm hoping we can time it so that something will be open, like maybe a diner or something, but I don't know. Anyway, so yes, it's First Contact Day. I'm just excited that my show is actually on First Contact Day. So how did this all start? How did we end up as Trekkies celebrating April 5th of 2063? I mean, we all know that it's because of First Contact, the movie, which was the Next Generation movie, which basically said this is the day that we met the Vulcans. But where did it really start? Well, actually, it started back on TOS with a little episode called Metamorphosis, because that is where they introduced Zefram Cochrane, the scientist who created the first warp engine. Kirk and McCoy and Spock were on a shuttle with a Federation. I just watched the episode the other day. Federation diplomat who was helping prevent a war, and they were trying to get back to the Enterprise, and they got basically scooped up by this ball of energy and dragged to a planet by this ball of energy called the Companion, because Zefram Cochrane was lonely. And we find out that Zefram Cochrane, who has been there for 150 years, left Earth at the age of 87 because he wanted to die in space, because that was his thing. He created warp drive and this is what he wanted to do. And the same thing happened to him 150 years ago that happened to the Galileo shuttle pod. It got scooped up by this ball of energy. But it turns out the companion has these powers, and she restored Zefram Cochrane to a very spry 35 years old. And he was lonely, and he wanted... well, yeah, she was a Federation pain in the ass. She was old. So the companion, Zefram, was lonely for his own kind, which is why the companion went out and snagged the Galileo, thinking to make Zefram happy on the planet. And they find out, oh my God, this is Zefram Cochrane. The only thing that matches between that Zefram Cochrane and the Zefram Cochrane we eventually see in First Contact many, many, many moons later is that he recognized Spock as a Vulcan. You're eating Easter Bunny candy. Well, okay, I'm just flashing to the Picard, the bunny corn pizza. But okay, Lasso, enjoy your candy. But that is the only thing, and that's probably what gave them the basis for First Contact. And their first contact was with the Vulcans, because he invented the first warp drive. It didn't go very far, and he knew Spock was a Vulcan, but that is all he knew. But the rest of it, the math doesn't match. Because 150 years was too long to match up with the Zefram Cochrane that we met. The fact that he left Earth at 87 doesn't match up with what happened with Enterprise. So literally the only thing that Metamorphosis gave us going forward was that the Vulcans must have been the first extraterrestrials that humankind met, if Zefram Cochrane knew who they were. And the other thing was that the Zefram Cochrane that we met in TOS definitely had no traits in common with the Zefram Cochrane that they gave us in First Contact. He was a drunk. He invented warp. He invented his warp engine for money, because it still existed back then. First Contact was a great movie. As we all know, it is my favorite movie. One of the reasons was because I still consider Enterprise the sequel to First Contact, but it was just a great movie. And I rewatched it today. I got to watch it in 4K. I had some issues with my Paramount, which I eventually figured out. But I loved how it, and at the time that I saw it originally, I had forgotten about the TOS episode. So it was a surprise, but not a surprise to me when the Vulcans stepped off the ship. So that movie made First Contact Day part of canon, to the point where now if you watched any of Star Trek going forward, it mentioned it. You guys all should be very impressed with me. I watched a Voyager episode today. And dummy me, did I not write the damn title down? What's interesting is that I found it thanks to the Star Trek Memory Alpha. And Star Trek Memory Alpha had the episode listed as 7th season, episode 23. It's not. It's episode 22, because I went and found it on Netflix. Homecoming, something. And it opens with Neelix having a First Contact Day party. He's got an old jukebox. It's playing Cochrane's favorite music that we all knew from the movie. They're eating cheese pierogies, which somehow somebody said was his favorite food. And Neelix is all excited about First Contact Day, and everybody else is just like, it's a thing. Captain Janeway said it was just for them. It was a school day, kind of like President's Day or Veterans Day. It was just a reason to be out of school, but it didn't have any real significance. But Neelix wanted to give it the gravitas that he thought it deserved 315 years later, to the point where he wanted Tuvok to do the Vulcan greeting. He wanted him to just say, "Live long and prosper," which were the first words that were uttered to humankind from the Vulcans. Let's see, food. I could go for some chili cheese fries. Just eat your bunny candy. Or Grubhub yourself some chili cheese fries. Or technically, I guess for First Contact Day, we should have all been eating cheese pierogies. Or as, for some reason, they said in an episode of Lower Decks, First Contact Day salmon. I watched the movie. Zephram fell into a stream. I don't know. And I don't know where War Dog is. When War Dog shows up, he lives in Montana. We can ask him if salmon's a big thing in Montana, maybe. But it's just, it's now First Contact has become prevalent through the canon of all, like basically all Star Trek following. Enterprise has a ton of references. I think my favorite Enterprise reference to First Contact, ironically, is in Carbon Creek, which is supposedly debunking First Contact being in Bozeman, Montana, and T'Pol claiming First Contact, which when undocumented was in Carbon Creek, Pennsylvania, which is a little closer to home for me, just doesn't exist. They did mention Doylestown in that episode, and Doylestown does exist. So I don't live that far from Doylestown, but Carbon Creek doesn't exist. But my favorite, because in the beginning when T'Pol was talking about Carbon Creek being the site of First Contact, and Trip turns around and goes, "I've been to Bozeman. There's a statue." Probably my favorite First Contact reference. Hey, Travis, happy First Contact Day. There you go. Drinking whiskey for dinner. Zephram Cochrane would be proud. Absolutely. So you go enjoy your whiskey or tequila. He did make Deanna drink tequila. That's my favorite reference to First Contact in Enterprise is when Trip just blurts out, "There's a statue." And it turns out in my research, I found out that in the episode Fusion, which is the one where they meet the Vulcans, those Vulcans that think that they can mix logic and emotion, there's a line that got cut where Trip and Fract are having that discussion in engineering, and First Contact comes up, and Trip says that it's dull and it's just a reason for kids to get out of school. But what's really interesting is what did make it into the final cut is where Trip asks if Vulcans dance, which could have been, and I just figured this out, which could have been a sneaky little reference back to the fact that Tuvok claims in that episode, Neelix tries to get him to dance, and he says Vulcans don't dance. So that could have been a cute little sneaky Easter egg as a reference back to the to that episode. The other thing that Enterprise offers was it seems that Admiral Forrest and Travis Mayweather both had models of the Phoenix in their office, and Travis said he had one back when he was on the Horizon. And as I just mentioned in Lower Decks, the episode No Small Parts, Commander Ransom says the Cerritos is getting torn apart like a First Contact Day salmon. There we go. Captain and Coke. Absolutely. If you are drinking any sort of liquor today in honor of First Contact Day, Zephram Cochrane would be very proud. It is, and then, the other, it's made its way onto Picard as well. Just not in a great way, because in 2365, it's when the rogue synths destroyed Mars, was on First Contact Day. But it is also celebrated, let us not forget, it is also celebrated in the Mirror Universe because it's the day that the Terran Empire attacked, killed all the Vulcans, and took over their ship and got their technology and created the Terran Empire. We find this out from the beginning of In a Mirror Darkly, which is just, I love the theme to Enterprise. We all know I love the theme to Enterprise, but the opening for the two parts of In a Mirror Darkly was brilliant. First of all, the whole thing with the redone ending of First Contact, but also just the music and the entire change of the theme. I thought that was just like the icing on the cake, because In a Mirror Darkly is one of my favorite Enterprise episodes. It turns out the little nugget that I found out was that the date is actually co-writer Ronald Moore's son's birthday. He's one of the co-writers of the movie, and it's his birthday, April 5th. So, and as a little tribute to his son, he said, well, if we have to pick a day for first contact, how about we make it my son's birthday? Now the poor kid's got to share his birthday with all the Trekkies screaming about it being first contact day. I don't know how he feels about it. I don't like sharing my birthday. I don't like sharing. My birthday is the same birthday as Jerry Garcia's. So, but when I find out other people have my birthday, I don't like to share. I get a little jealous, but that's just me. I actually, when I sang karaoke at the last STLV, it turns out somebody else was celebrating their birthday the same day because they got on stage before I did, and Connor had everybody sing. And I thought, this was just supposed to be for me, but it's okay. I still got up and people still sang for me too. So the other cool thing that, and this is a throwaway, and I tried to, before the show, I tried to find out which episode this was in, but I ran across this when I was watching a Voyager episode, and Ensign Kim and 709, and I think B'Elanna, they were having some sort of discussion, and Kim couldn't remember the name of the ship, the Zefram Cochrane ship, and 7 of 9 of all people throws out Phoenix, and Harry goes, "How did you know that?" But she'd been studying up on human history, so. But it's just amazing to me, and I love the fact that it's part of canon. I love that we all get a chance to sit here and celebrate First Contact Day to the point. StarTrek.com, this is the second year in a row that they've done panels. Last year they did a bunch of panels as well. In fact, they had an Enterprise panel last year because I remember it was a Saturday, I was at work, and the part-time job that I had, I could watch TV when I wasn't cashing checks. So they had some really fantastic panels last year. They had some fantastic panels this year. I believe that they are all still available. If you go to StarTrek.com, I think you can rewatch them. Once again this year they were hosted by Will Wheaton and LeVar Burton's daughter. Again, names. See, this is I love doing this, and I just really should start writing. It's just when you do things that, like, I do them with some notes. But most of it is just whatever comes off the top of my head. Then things come off the top of my head, and I'm going, I don't know the name of that episode. I don't know the name of that person. I thought they would be. They're on YouTube. It was just funny because last year the one panel that I was watching, LeVar poked his head in while his daughter was doing her thing, which I thought was really cute. The panel that I did catch was the Picard panel because they said that there was going to be a big announcement, which was the one about Picard season 2 has started filming and Q is back. There's a trailer for that. I believe there's actually also a trailer, and I haven't watched the other. I think the trailer for Lower Deck season 2 is out. There was a Prodigy panel so that anybody that's really excited about Star Trek Prodigy, the new animated series with Kate Mulgrew, there's that to go check out. The announcement about Mission Chicago was at the end. It was like one of the last things. And again, thank you to all my friends that went and watched, and I got to find these things out because I was busy watching First Contact. So I didn't, because I wanted to get it. I needed to get it in so I could just refresh my memory about it. It still ranks up there as my favorite Star Trek movie. It is also the only Star Trek movie I think. Next Generation. Obviously, I can quote lines from the TOS from all the original Star Trek movies, but I believe First Contact has to be the only TOS movie that I know any of the lines in that I can just quote right along. When the Borg Queen says, "Watch your futures end," I think is I love that quote. Assimilate this when Worf shoots the deflector dish as it's floating away. Happy First Contact Day, Faith. Thank you so much for joining us. So glad that you're here. I love the fact that, and again, back to, up until Enterprise came along, and even First Contact, at the end, if you watch, Zefram has everybody down for drinks, and the Vulcans are sipping right away, even though, according to T'Pol, they don't really drink alcohol except on special occasions. She allows herself indulgences, but the Vulcans were drinking and hanging out, and you would think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Not so much. We spent the next almost 100 years arguing with them about getting into space. And I've mentioned this before. One of the things that I absolutely love about Enterprise is watching the beginnings, or not obviously seeing the beginnings because we're 90 years in, but finding out that in the beginning our relationship with the Vulcans was not just wasn't peaches and cream, and I absolutely love that. I love to see how it was. Hey, War Dog, I got a question for you in 1 second. What is Brent's amazing, has the same fear as me, and he was able to face it. Which fear is that? Travis would love to hear your thoughts on that. Love Brent. Brent's amazing. Oh, well, you're here now, so you remembered in time, and I'm glad you're here because I have a question. Is salmon a big thing in Montana? Do you guys do a lot of salmon fishing, War Dog? I'm asking because there was a comment made in an episode of Lower Decks in reference to First Contact Day, so I'm curious if salmon's a big thing out there. Oh, a fear of heights. Okay. Brent I did not know that. I'm not big on heights either. I've been up to the CN Tower in Toronto. I've been up in the Eiffel Tower. I've been up to the top of the Empire State Building. But I think the CN Tower was probably the scariest because it rocks in the wind. Lake trout. That's interesting. So lake trout is big in Montana, but yet they were talking about salmon on Lower Decks. What have they been running on Twitch? Domestic. I mean, I know I'm on Twitch, but I don't know what's been running on Twitch. Let's see. Under 2 feet, they're just the prettiest pink there is. I love fish. I love cooking salmon. I would have made salmon tonight, but I just couldn't find any that I saw in the grocery store yesterday when I was shopping that I liked. Lake trout. Lake trout is a freshwater salmon. See, did not know that. Learning things. Thank you, War Dog. So salmon. All right. So salmon is big in Montana, hence why First Contact Day's official meal, I guess, is salmon. Now that makes sense. So they got it right. Thank you. Yeah, I like my salmon a little opaque in the middle, and that's really hard to find when you go out to eat. They usually cook it all the way through, which is it's too dry for me. So that's why I like to make it at home myself. So if I had found some salmon yesterday at the grocery store, I would have brought some home probably and made it tonight. Yes, cheese pierogies. We were talking about those earlier. His favorite food is cheese. I love cheese pierogies, especially if they're in that butter and onion. When I was in college, when I was at Penn State, back in the we're not going to talk about. But there was a place called Bubba's Breakaway that was known for their pierogies. Used to order them all the time, have them delivered right to my dorm room, and they came in this container that kept them so piping hot. And you open them up, and they were floating in butter and onions, and they were absolutely fantastic. Actually, the restaurant I used to work in does really good pierogies too. They put like grilled onions on the top. So a good cheese pierogi with some onion to go along with it, maybe some sour cream, definitely a win. I might have to do that later this week just to say, First Contact Week. Do they do cheese pierogies in Chicago? I don't know. I know Chicago's all about the deep dish pizza and the sausage. Wonder if you can get good pierogies in Chicago. Magic Lasso, do you know the answer to that question? You are my Chicago guy. Because, I've never been. I might have to go out on First Contact Day and just spend a week in Chicago and eat my way through Chicago and then walk it all off at the convention center during ReedPop's Mission Chicago. But fear not, for those of you that can't get to Chicago, don't think you're going to be able to get to Chicago. ReedPop has said, to repeat, ReedPop has said they are going to take Star Trek on a cross-country tour, which is what they do with the Star Wars Celebration. Star Wars Celebration isn't in the same city either. Hasn't come close to here yet. I would love to go to a Star Wars celebration. They just haven't come close, and I spend all my money traveling all over the country chasing Star Trek. So, but I'm just really excited to be going to Chicago, that have friends in the area that are going to be able to show me around. Let's see. Wherever there's a substantial Polish population, there are pierogies. Excellent point. Again, I don't know. I know Chicago's a big food town, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I can't wait for Chicago deep dish pizza. Although I do come from the East Coast, and New York pizza, I just won't tell anybody from New York that I'm going for Chicago deep dish. Let's see. Okay. Oh, real Chicago pizza in Chicago. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not like you get real Chicago pizza at Pizzeria Uno. It's a chain store. So, the other thing I wanted to mention is domestic. I got a notification today. Congratulations. You have stuck with me on Patreon long enough that you are actually getting your thank you gift. So that should be heading out to you soon. I was notified today. Anybody else out there that if you want to head over to Patreon, just look up NX7062. If you want to support the podcast, that would be fantastic. Depending on what tier you pick, there are thank you gifts. The way a thank you gift works is if you stick with me for 3 months of patronage, you get a thank you gift. Depending on which tier you pick, determines which gift you get. So domestic, hopefully you will enjoy your little thank you present from me and the podcast. I really appreciate the help. As you know, like I said, I am planning to travel to as many Star Trek events. I'm looking at, I'm hoping to hit Jacksonville in September for the Sci-Fi Summit there. I think I've mentioned this before. The Sci-Fi Summit in New Jersey is the same weekend, but the people that I would want to see second time around. Oh, well, you are very welcome, domestic. I hope you enjoy it. Let's see. Yep, you got to stick with me one more month, War Dog, and you'll get yours. So yeah, it's 3 months. You got to do 3 months. So domestic was right there. He was the first one. War Dog, you were the second. I'm waiting on my third one. Also, domestic's kind of lonely in the Facebook group that's patrons only. But like I think I mentioned this before, the Jacksonville, and I do not know why they did this. Why Creation, out of all of the weekends, decided to have New Jersey and Jacksonville on the same weekend. I think it's September 10th, 11th, and 12th. I have a really good friend. My friend in Jacksonville is the one that I adopted Trip from, and he was actually here earlier, but he's not a lap cat yet. Hopefully one of these days that he'll jump up and you guys will actually get to see him in the flesh. Good to know, War Dog. I guess I gotta go out and get my shots. No, kidding. Love that, War Dog. Chat Pack 2.0. So anyway, so I would have a chance if I went to the Jacksonville Star Trek convention. I would have a chance to see my friend who gave me Trip, which is a big thing, plus all of my Star Trek buddies, and the chance of a Rat Pack show are all happening down in Jacksonville, Florida. So why would I stay up in what could conceivably be a chilly fall weekend in New Jersey when I could go down to nice, warm Jacksonville, Florida and hang out and potentially maybe even talk my friend who lives in Georgia coming down. I don't know. I haven't looked at how far away she is from the Florida Panhandle. That's the words I was looking for. Florida Panhandle. But anyway, as we all know, when I go to a convention, you go to a convention, because I will take your questions for any of your Star Trek favorites. And if I can, I will ask them. Again, all you have to do is check. Now, I don't know how they're working it for the Sci-Fi Summits. I haven't looked actually at those websites in a while. But if you go to Creations Vegas website and you see that entire list of guests, which are now, as I've mentioned before, in alphabetical order as opposed to order by series, again, because they don't have the license. But if you look and you find your favorite person who you may want to ask a question of, if it says in the vendor's room, if it says that they're signing autographs in the vendor's room, that means I will have open access to them. If it says autograph day TBD, that means that they are under Creation's control. It means that they're signing autographs when Creation says they are and only in that limited window, and that will get me nowhere. So if the person who you want me to ask a question of is in the vendor room, you've got a shot. Send me the question, especially if they're enterprise related, because I would love to sit down with Connor and Dominic again, like I did last year, because I had a ton of questions for them. I had so much fun sitting and chatting with them. But I know Travis is a Nicole DeBoer fan. I asked a question of Nicole last year. So Travis, if you think of a new question and you want me to ask Nicole, absolutely be happy to. Let's see. Well, I have 3 more weeks until my second vax, and I'm O positive, so I've got some natural resistance. Somebody in my family is actually O positive. That is great. I got my second vaccination date when I got my first vaccine last week. My second vaccination date, which was confirmed, is of all dates 4/20. So I know how I'm going to be celebrating. But anyway, I've only what is it? From tomorrow. It's only 2 weeks from tomorrow. So I am really excited. Oh, well, there you go, Robert. Hopefully I will see you there. I will know you because you will at least one of those days be dressed as Martok, I am guessing. You do need to come up for a question. You've got time. I mean, August. But like I said, anybody, you just head over, check out who's going to be in the vendor room. I don't make promises, but the people that I know, Nicole DeBoer, Connor Trenier, Dominic Keating, hopefully JG and Bob will be there. I don't think that they've confirmed yet. Maybe Rekha Sharma. Can't make any promises on that, but she does know who I am. I think who else? Chase Masterson. If you have questions for Chase. Let me put it this way. If you have questions for Chase, she would answer them for me if she had 5 seconds to spare, but she is probably the hardest working person at that convention, besides working for Pop Culture Hero Coalition, besides sitting around signing autographs. She also does a happy hour every night at the bar, which is now being called Jimmy's Place. So she's really hard to nail down. If you have a question for Chase, I can try, but that I can't promise, only because she's so busy. Trying to think if there's anybody else. If you have a question for Melissa Longo, she's going to be there if you want to ask her about her artwork. Or if you want to order a bracelet. I was going to wear it tonight and I forgot to grab it. I have a wristband or wrist wrap from her that in binary code spells out ST Enterprise. She's working on an ankle bracelet for me as well that's going to match. So I will definitely be showing those off. I'm trying to think who else I could ask questions of. I know people who know people. So again, no promises, but maybe Gates McFadden. I could sneak a question into. We'll see. If you wanted me to ask it in French, that would be awesome, because that would probably get a better reaction from her. She's fluent. I'm okay. But yeah, just go check it out. And like I said, even if I don't know the person, that nothing stops me. So in case you haven't figured that out. So even if I don't know the person, disco people are going to be hard. They're going to be difficult, though. Maybe not so much. In 2019, disco was the it show. So even though all the disco people were in the vendor's room, they were really hard to approach. Now that they've got Picard, disco people might be a little bit easier. But again, I can't make any promises for disco. But please, like I said, I'm more than happy to try for you. I'm going to try and get, where I can, I'm going to try and get video. I have to maybe get a tripod for my phone. Things I have to look into, things that I should look into now so that I can order them. And if I hate them or they don't work well, I can send them back to Amazon. But yeah, I'm already starting to plan for STLV, even though my road trip through Montana is coming first. And again, that is going to be after my season finale, which is the last Monday of this month. But I might do a special video, so be on the lookout for a special post video from my 5 minutes in Bozeman. Let's see. War Dog, I need a way to send you one of my special coins for Nicole. Ciroc told me she's part of the middle finger game from Aaron. I got Ciroc with one. It was fun. Yeah. Let's see. Way to send you one. We will talk. We can absolutely talk off. One of those Gorilla Pods would be cool. War Dog, we could talk. We talk through Patreon. That's the other thing. If you are a patron and you're not on Facebook, like War Dog does not do Facebook, which I totally respect. But if you are a patron, you can access me through messages. War Dog and I have already talked. But we can definitely talk about some. If you want to send me something to give Nicole, I would be more than happy. I actually gave her a little something last year. Oh, and speaking of which, and I meant to retweet this before I got on the air tonight. Nicole just tweeted, sometimes she lets her little puppy Teddy in on the cameos. So if you're ever thinking about getting a cameo with Nicole, you could get a cameo with Nicole and the puppy. So she just tweeted about that. Yes, I know, no face hugger. War Dog is very anti-face hugger. So you figured out how to talk to me housewise, which is good. So that's about it, I guess, for First Contact. How excited are we that we are 1 year closer to the Vulcans landing? So all I have to say to everybody, besides obviously thank you so much for joining me. Oh my gosh. All right, I guess I can't end now. Johnny, what the heck? It is so good to see you. I am so glad you made it. Johnny and I have known each other for a while. In fact, he's a good guy, and I am so excited to see you here. Let's see, Faith is excited. So I guess I gotta at least stay on for a couple more minutes. And actually, I just thought yeah, exactly. Only 42 more years. There's a good chance I'll still be here if modern medicine has anything to say about it. Already made a pact with some of my friends that if whoever's all still here on April 5th in 2063, and you know what? It wouldn't be a party without you guys. So who is all in April 5th, 2063? We all just meet up somewhere in Bozeman, Montana. I will go scope it out in May when I am there, and we should all just meet up, anybody that's still around in Bozeman in 2063. You got to figure we are not the only ones that are having this brilliant idea. There you go. Oh, crap. There was something that I thought of. Oh, yep. Now it left, and there you go. We will see you there. We will see you there, Faith. Yes, exactly. Johnny, you're going to be in Vegas, right? Hopefully, I will see. Hopefully, that'll be our first face-to-face. We'll see you in Vegas. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I'm glad, Johnny, that you popped in, or else I would have forgotten to say it. Chase Masterson, as we all know, who I've already mentioned, the multi-talented Chase Masterson, works with Big Finish, the British audio drama people, for a Doctor Who spinoff called Vienna. And I have tried so hard to get. I bought the pilot when I met her the first time in 2016 in Jersey. I bought the pilot. But I finally got, woohoo, Johnny, I will so see you there. Hugs. If you're vaccinated and I'm vaccinated and it's cool, we will be hugging in Vegas then. That's all I'm going to say. There you go. Wheel on over, Faith. I'll be older than that. So, Travis, let's see. There you go. Guy in the mechanized suit. There you go. We should start planning that now. Absolutely. Anyway, Vienna is available. If you head over to Big Finish's website, not only is it is available for download. So I didn't even have to get the CD. I downloaded the audio file today of her second series. I think there were 3 or 4 seasons or series, as they say over across the pond. So, yeah, Vienna. Anyway, if you are a Doctor Who fan, this is a spinoff of Doctor Who starring Chase Masterson. The pilot was great. If you head over to Big Finish, it cost me $14.99 for the first season. downloaded it. I'm taking a road trip this weekend, so I will be popping it on the iPod so that I can listen to it. Really looking forward to it. In fact, I listened to the pilot when I was doing a road trip, because who needs to channel surf when you can just pop in an audio drama? That's the thing. I wouldn't listen to an audio drama in bits and pieces, but I would pop it in and listen to an entire audio drama while I was driving. So I'm really excited to be listening to the first episode of the first season of Vienna. Big Finish. Christopher Eccleston just said that he was going to be contributing. So the 9th Doctor is finally on Big Finish. This is the first thing that he's done since leaving Doctor Who. He's popped up at a couple conventions, but this is like the first like recreation of the 9th Doctor, and he's just gotten some stuff going. So that would be really cool if Chase could work with Christopher Eccleston, because I adore Christopher Eccleston. He's one of my top 5 Doctors. Domestic will be 100. You never know. There you go. I think Bozeman needs to prepare now that every single Trekkie who is alive is going to be in Bozeman on April 5th. I think we should all book hotels now at this point, because you got to figure with all the new Trek, we're bringing in the next generation upon generation. So it's not just going to be us, people on canes and in wheelchairs and in mechanized suits. It's going to be a lot of young people there too to celebrate the Vulcans' arrival. So it's going to be a huge party. There were 4. There we go. Yes, I saw that. I didn't check which master it is, though. It's not Eric. For some reason, I have a feeling it's Eric Roberts. Is it Eric Roberts, or is it a better master? Because Eric was kind of a John. Oh God. See, I actually do know this guy's name, and it's going to kill me. The master that played opposite David Tennant, his first, John Sims, I think is his name. John Sims. He's my favorite master, and I have actually watched some original masters from back in the day. But anyway, Johnny, aren't you glad you were just in time for the Doctor Who stuff? Oh God, it is Eric. You know what? I have a story about a Pike chair. Hold on a second. All right. So I'm going to fall somewhere in the middle between Domestic and War. I'm going to be younger than Domestic and War Dog, but I'm going to be older than Travis. So it's just nice to know I'm not going to be the oldest one there. Yeah, he's the guy from the TV. That's why I said, please, not Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts was the master in Paul McGann's American television Doctor Who thing from the 80s. Honestly, I liked him better in Night of the Doctor just because it was BBC as opposed to the American thing that they did. I mean, Sylvester McCoy got his regeneration in the Doctor Who movie that we did with Paul McGann. And Paul McGann is a fabulous doctor, but he also did this little short thing for the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who called Night of the Doctor, where you got to see him regenerate into the War Doctor. Okay. So I promised you a story about a Pike chair. So see, I'm so glad I didn't sign off. Johnny's here, and now okay. So I don't know if I told you guys. I think I did. A couple months back, I went grocery shopping in my NX-01 ball cap, and a guy that was working at the made-to-order counter in the grocery store was like, "Isn't that from Star Trek?" And I couldn't believe that I was somewhere not at a Star Trek convention that somebody knew what my NX-01 hat was about. I was thrilled beyond belief. So ever since, and he's also from England, so I get to talk to him and listen to his Manchester accent. But so every time that I go grocery shopping now, I stop by to see him. His name's Sean. So I was there yesterday, and I have a torn meniscus and in my left knee, and it's been killing me lately. And yesterday I decided I was better off in one of those little righty cart grocery things than walking the store. So I was in it, and I rode up to Sean, and he came around, and he was asking me what the deal was, and I was telling him all my woes about this and how I would love to get it taken care of before Vegas, because anybody that has been to Vegas knows it is about a half a mile walk if you stay at the Rio. It is a half a mile walk at least from your room down just to get into the convention, let alone all the way back to the vendor room. And if I'm working with Lambda Quadrant, that's where my day is going to start, all the way back in the freaking vendor room. Not complaining, but anyway, so Sean made a comment about how I should just cosplay as that guy in that thing. And I'm like, yeah, the Captain Pike wheelchair. I said, yeah, there's actually a guy that does that. I think he does it every year. He cosplays as Captain Pike from the Menagerie. And he does it beautifully. I mean, he looks like Sean, I want to say Robertson, but I'm probably wrong. But the actor that plays Sean McKenna, is it McKenna? That plays Pike in the Menagerie. He looks just like him in the chair. He's got the mechanized chair. The chair has been signed by, I don't know whose autograph he has on the chair. I haven't gotten that close to ask him, but I would love to find out who's got it signed. And another story that goes along with that, and hopefully Rekha Sharma will forgive me. So this guy's been tooling around the entire convention, and I went over to see Rekha and say hello. I met her on the cruise. She actually introduced me to, well, sure did. She was just surprised I never had fresh mango. We were having lunch with her and Chase and some other people. But we had this mango buddy thing going on. So she did remember me, and I went up and I said hi to Rekha. And it turns out that Rekha was talking to Steven Weber, and Steven Weber, who only did that one, or the 2-part episode of DS9, is explaining to Rekha who the guy in the wheelchair is, because she had no idea who that Captain Pike character was. And it was great listening to Steven Weber, who's obviously a fan of the show, explain to Rekha, who obviously liked Star Trek, but not enough to know that kind of stuff. So that was just a funny little thing. Weber got done. I was like, that's a mic drop. He explained it to her. Steven Weber, by the way, I hope he goes again this year. He is fabulous. He's such a sweetheart. He's so much fun to talk to. What's really fun, and my friend Wendy beat me to this. I was so mad at her. Wendy and I shared a room, and we had the TV on one night in the room, and Mom, the TV show Mom, was on. And it was one of the episodes with Steven Weber. He was in a couple episodes. And Wendy beat me to the punch. She went down the next day and went up to him and says, hey, you were on my TV last night. And got to have a chuckle with him, and I was pissed that she beat me to it. But anyway, Steven Weber is a really great guy, a lot of fun to talk to. So I hope he's there again. Let's see, what do we got? War Dog. Mr. Google Pants says Sean Kenny. I was close, thank you. I knew I was close, War Dog. Thanks for looking that up for me. Anybody that knows me knows that I cannot multitask. So for me to Google and chat with you guys, you would have seen my resting bitch face as I was trying to Google stuff. So thank you so much, War Dog, for looking that up for me. Mom is absolutely hilarious. I love it. Totally non-Trek related, except for the fact that Steven Weber's in it. Oh, wait. No, watch this. Okay. So Steven Weber's in it. Steven Weber played the brother of a now regular cast member who is married to Mom. I don't know this actor's name, but this actor was in Prison Break opposite, for 3 episodes, Dominic Keating. There you go. There's the Star Trek connection for you. It's a brilliant show. Chuck Lorre, except he really, really effed up the end of 2.5 Men. Maybe you can blame part of that on Charlie Sheen, but he really effed for leaving. But he really effed up the end of 2.5 Men. But Mom, I think, and I am not an AA, I don't know any alcoholics who watch the show that I could ask their thoughts, because their thoughts obviously would be more important and one more realistic. But I think Chuck has found the balance between the seriousness of alcoholism and this balance with the comedy that I think is really well done. Mom is going to be done. This is the last season, but he's also started a new show. It's called The United States of Al, which again is taking on a very serious topic about the war in Afghanistan. It's about a Marine who's come home, and he gets the interpreter that he worked with while he was in Afghanistan into the country. And he's sponsoring him, so he's living with him. And it's only 1 episode in, and I think it's great. And again, I think he's got these amazing writers that find the balance between the humor that you can find even in the most serious situations without making a farce of the serious situation that you're speaking of. So if you're just looking for some good comedy, Mom, it's in reruns all over the place. Go check it out. Sugar just walked in the room. She just meowed at me. I don't know where she is though. Oh, yeah. I hear you. There's the Fishers, the mom dude. War Dog, you are awesome. Oh, well, congratulations on your sobriety. That is absolutely fantastic. I take it. Did you Google that for me, War Dog, or do you actually watch the show? Because I'm serious. I would love to know your opinion on how they handle what can be a very sensitive and emotional subject. Sugar, I will be done in a minute. The one thing about female cats is that they want what they want when they want it. Absolutely. So I think now that we've gotten, like I said, I was able to work Mom back around to Star Trek. Let me think if I can get United States of Al. It's like those. It's like those 12 degrees or 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. I'm gonna see if I can do that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Seriously, I've been looking for an honest. It is absolutely. It is a daily thing. It is a one day at a time thing. I think the cast is fabulous. I love Allison Janney. I've loved her since West Wing. I think she's fabulous. Oh, was it? No, it was Chris Pratt was in. I was going to say it was Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt was in Mom, but that's Guardians of the Galaxy. That's not Star Trek. All right, so United States of Al has a guy that was in Suburgatory with Alan Tudyk. And Alan Tudyk should somehow get us to Star Trek just because Alan Tudyk's been in freaking everything science fiction related. I just don't know how to get it there. Yes, she's very vocal when she wants what she wants. She wants it now, and she wants attention, which is why she's in here meowing at me. I was actually cutting lines. I do an audio drama. I might as well throw my hat in the ring for one of my projects while we're all here. I do an audio drama called Hawk Chronicles, and I will post a link somewhere in case you guys are interested. We're already up to episode 157. I came on 106 as the character of Lenora, and it's so much fun. It's every week or so I get a script. I get to read a couple lines. But the problem with recording in a house with animals is that even if you shut the door, the risk you run when you shut the door to your office is animals sitting outside clawing to get in, which will get on to your audio track. Or you let them in and then you run the risk of them meowing. And I was trying to cut some lines yesterday, and this one was meowing in the middle of it, which was hard. But eventually I got them done. Let's see what War Dog has to say. Thank you. There we go. There's our Star Trek. Robert Duncan McNeil produces Resident Alien with Alan Tudyk. So there we go. We got United States of Al into Star Trek without too much trouble. Yes, Alan Tudyk is flat out awesome, period. Love him. Met him. There you go. Well, Lasso, thank you for hanging out for the entire hour. I'll see you next year. Hopefully face to face. But I'm sure we'll talk between now and then because we've got Wonder Woman stuff to talk about. Not to mention more DC stuff. Thank you. See, I knew we could bring Alan into Star Trek without trying too hard. Okay. Let's see. Rob. Oh yeah, met Alan Tudyk. I think I told this story before too, but I'll get to it real quick. Alan is amazing, and he has done so much. The first thing I ever saw him in was Firefly, and I fell in love with him. And then you watch the movie Serenity, and he breaks your heart. And my friend who I was in line with to get his autograph, Alan asked him what his favorite role he did was because you have so many to choose from. And my buddy Evan said, well, of course, Firefly. And so Alan didn't ask any more questions. He just took a Firefly picture and he signed it and he wrote, "I am a leaf on the wind." And I went, oh my God, it practically made me want to cry there because I was still really, really pissed at Joss for doing that. But Joss has that tendency to kill off main characters. I'm not going to say what other main characters he killed off that pissed me off, but he's done it before. So, but again, not to say you shouldn't watch Firefly, because Firefly is fucking amazing. Let's see what else we got. Oh, well, there you go. Con Man. I did watch Con Man, and it was Alan, like I said, and Nathan Fillion too. They are two just fabulous actors, and I love it when they do science fiction. The other thing I liked about Firefly was the theme song. That is my second favorite TV theme song, right after Where My Heart Will Take Me. So it looks like we just hit the hour mark. You guys, you are all absolutely fabulous for hanging out with me. Yeah. You're all fabulous for hanging out with me. Johnny, I'm so excited to see you here. Thank you so much. I hope this means that you'll hang out. I don't know if you heard me say these are the last couple of shows before I take my break for the season. I take the summer off. Good night, Johnny. Good night to everybody out there. Thank you so much for, as always, hanging out with me. This was the best way I could think of for me to spend First Contact Day. So thank you all so much. I will catch you all next week. Until then, please live long and prosper.
This is Nicole DeBoer, and you've been listening to the NX7062 podcast.